Here is yet another expected but still profoundly awful, disappointing, psychotic mass shooting that happened yet again in the country where, in the only country where it seems to happen all the time. Dadeville mass shooting in Alabama. 4 people were killed and 28 were injured at an Alabama birthday party. It wasn't just a regular birthday party. It was a Sweet 16. You know what I mean? It's like these are little kids, from what I understand. Number 1 in the world for mass shootings. You already know. Tragedy struck Alabama Saturday night as gunfire erupted at a Sweet 16 birthday party in the heart of Dadeville, killing 4 young people and injuring 28 others, some of them critically. The investigation in Tallapoosa County lasted throughout the day Sunday with no announcement of any arrests in the case. This morning, in the small community of about 3,000, grief counselors will be on hand at the Dadeville High School, where at least 2 of the victims were among the school's 485 students. It's an unreal tragedy, Dadeville High Principal Chris Hand said. I'm so devastated right now. We have a really good school, and these were great students. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the police have given very little details on what actually took place, how this happened, who the suspects are. Did the suspects die? Did the shooters actually die? Did they get away? Is there an active shooter that is like running around? You know what I mean? Anyway. So, we don't know, but most of the injured are teenagers.
Begin with some terrible news. It's a mass shooting in Alabama at a Sweet 16th birthday party. 4 people were killed and 28 others hurt. Most of them were teenagers. Now, this happened at a dance studio in the city of Dadeville, Alabama. Witnesses report that there were multiple shooters, but so far, police have made no arrest in this case. There have already been 31 mass shootings just this month in America, and today is only the 17th day of April. Omar Villafranca is in Dadeville, Alabama, with more on the story. Omar, you certainly don't think of a Sweet 16 party as a deadly place, but that is the world we live in today, unfortunately. Good morning to you.
Good morning. When people say it can happen anywhere, this is what they mean. Dadeville is small town USA, population just over 3,000. The venue where it happened, right behind me, right on the old main street. That dance studio used to be the old bank. And for teenagers, this was probably the place to be this weekend, a birthday party. Everybody was probably talking about it, a Sweet 16. And then on Saturday, the unthinkable happened again.
Oh my God.
It's just like odd to say the unthinkable happened when it's, I'm even noticing the media coverage change around this to show you like how our culture surrounding mass shootings like this is changing a little bit. Like even they're saying the unthinkable happened again, as in like there is an air of like sarcasm in that sentiment, right? That's actually very important to recognize here, which means that like gun violence is becoming so normalized that our coverage and our response to it as a nation is also basically, and our lack of action against it is basically expected. I think that is, it's no longer seen as like inconceivable. You know what I mean? It's a very, very scary, very dark, very grim future that we are living in now. You know? The unthinkable happened yet again. Fucked up.
After Saturday night's deadly shooting at Mahogany Masterpiece Dance Center, ambulances, police cars, and parents descended on the local hospital.
It was people's everywhere.
running and yelling and crying and going on.
I got shot right here. Right here.
18-year-old Tanaya Cox was shot 3 times. She says she saw multiple gunmen inside the dark club.
I just saw 2 in the bathroom, and that's why I ran.
Police have not released any details about the suspect or suspects and would not say if anyone is in custody for the attack.
We'll never be the same.
Pastor Ben Hayes led a vigil for the victims Sunday night.
I don't understand
Most of the kids there were from Dadeville. This impacted us a lot.
He says one of the deceased is senior star athlete Phil Dowdell. It was his sister's birthday party. Their mother was also shot. Dowdell was just weeks from graduation and recently committed to play football at Jacksonville State next year.
He was a good person.
Daquan Doss says he was with Dowdell at the party, but the two ran in opposite directions when the shooting started.
I was standing right beside him. That thing, the shooting went on. I think he went right into it. I went opposite way. I wish I could have pulled him out.
Police have been very tight-lipped about this investigation. There's a lot we do not know.
I don't understand. I truly do not understand how. I understand why this happens all the time. I've covered this story, this exact same story, a million times over. What I don't fucking understand is how the cops are not revealing more information about what is going on in this tiny ass fucking town, dude. This is not a major hub. It's a small town. Everybody knows each other. How the fuck are the cops not giving any additional information about whether or not who the shooters were? Did they die? Are they running? What the fuck is going on?
Know how many suspects they're looking for or how many suspects they're looking for, if it's 1, 2, based on what witnesses are saying. We don't know what kind of gun was used. We don't know the motive, but we're hoping to learn more at a press conference later on this morning. Tony?
Yeah, we know the result, and that's knowing a lot, Omar. Thank you very much.
Calls for justice across the country after a Kansas City teen went.
For these things, sometimes the FBI comes in and tells police departments what they can and can't say, sometimes restrictive. I don't get it. I mean, this is a black town. So, of course, that, that should show you, that can, clue you in a little bit on, it clues you in Alabama about the nature of the relationship between the officers there and the cops there and the people that live there in general. It's oftentimes more antagonistic than you would think, like an occupying force. We're going to do this in a second. We're going to cover the story in a second, but I don't know if there is additional details on this. I don't know if there's any additional details because, this is an update, I guess. Is this from today?
My name's Mike Segrist, and I'm the district attorney.
No, this is from yesterday. They haven't given a new update on it yet, right? Guys, for the people in the chat speculating, what if it's the cops who did it or whatever? We don't know anything. Stop. Police do more, defund the police. Check W. Yeah, totally. Police should do anything, not more, anything, for how fucking adequately funded they are. Not only, they are the highest, they receive over 50% in some municipalities of all the fucking state revenue, all of the localities' revenue. And yet they still flub everything. Come on now. Aiden Ross's downfall. You fucking dummy. It's insane. They've also never even been defunded, but dumbass dick riders like you constantly fucking say, oh, dude, these guys, they have such a tough job and they're being yelled at and they're being defunded. It's like, no, that never happened. We don't know anything yet. I'm not saying like that there was a cop that did it or anything like that. I would like to know more details. I mean, I assume, from what I've seen from people on the ground that have been interviewed by the media, they are shocked at the level of incompetence coming from the police in this regard. Okay? Where, like, the fact that they don't know if there's an active shooter still out there, for example, is insane. I don't know how long shocked Lemeve out. No, they're still shocked at, like, because there's incompetence and then there's, like, malicious negligence. When you see an active shooting situation where 4 people died and like 20 kids were injured, okay? And then you don't get details on, like, you hear who the victims are, but you don't get further details on whether or not the shooter is still out there. Yeah, that's a little bit crazy. Okay, it's been 22 fucking hours since the last time they did the press release. That's wild. This is not like New York City where the shooter pulled an Assassin's Creed and like hid in the fucking crowd and ran away. This is a tiny ass town. Anyway. Yeah, but we covered all this stuff. I don't really know what will come of this, but at this point, it's just like, it's just every day. It's just every fucking day. There's so much violence in this country. It's insane. Every day, there's another mass shooting happening in this country. Jesus Christ. We are now moving on to Missouri. A teenager was shot after going to the wrong house to pick up his brother. And the person who shot him was questioned by the police and then released. Right. Let's take a look.
Went to the wrong home to pick up his younger brothers, and the homeowner shot him. 16-year-old Ralph Yarl is recovering in the hospital in stable condition. His family describes him as a typical high schooler who loves to play the bass clarinet. He has been looking forward to starting college and majoring in chemical engineering. Police say Yarl's family say that he was given the address 115th Terrace, but he mistakenly went to a home at 115th Street instead. The shooter has been released, and there is sparking protest nationwide right now and outrage nationwide. CNN's Camila Bernal live for us in Los Angeles with more on this. Good morning to you, Camila. What is the status on this investigation?
Good morning, Don. Authorities say more is needed to go forward, and they need a statement from Ralph Yarl. He is doing well. He's in the hospital. He's recovering. But the family says that this is a long road, especially when it comes to his mental and his emotional health. This is a teenager that is being described as friendly and well-mannered. He loves music, and the family says plays multiple instruments, always had one in hand. He was dreaming about graduating and going to West Africa. All of this, of course, is going to be a lot more difficult now because he went to 115th Street instead of Terrace. He was just a block away from his brothers when he was shot.
Bro, I can't
The Kansas City community protesting.
I can't begin to fathom how glaringly obvious the sentiment expressed by our institutions are when you see a situation like this where like a young black teenager is shot for the crime of like ringing on the wrong doorbell, and the mistreatment by the state of the perpetrator is like deliberate. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sorry. It is. It has to be. Like, it's basically the same as like the Daniel Perry circumstance, where it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you are a criminal there's a reasonable doubt here of your criminality because you're a black kid. Okay? Because you're black. Like, they want to basically reinforce the incredibly scary precedent that, like, you shoot a black kid, that's stand your ground, baby. You know what I mean? That's how it is. And from what I understand, he shot him and then shot him again.
So you probably heard this story. It's really awful. The 16-year-old kid who knocked on a door in a house in Kansas City, Missouri to look for his siblings whom he was picking up. Wrong house. The homeowner, instead of letting him go on his way, instead shoots the kid in the head and then shoots him again. The kid survived and is in recovery, but is in bad shape, obviously. The kid was black. Kid is black. The shooter is white. And there's been a lot of conversation around this about racism, rightfully so, about the wide availability of guns, rightfully so, about the lack of a benefit of the doubt that black children get, rightfully so. What I want to bring up really quickly, just because of my interest in sort of the history of gun regulation, of gun culture, and this sort of thing, is how this is sort of exactly this scenario from the perspective of the homeowner, the white homeowner. This scenario of a young black person coming to your home, probably a criminal, whom you can then shoot, is exactly what so many mouthpieces for the gun industry has been selling for decades. It's part of the pitch that you own one of these weapons. You own a lot of these weapons to defend your homestead, to defend your home, and from whom this image of urban crime, of urban disorder, of essentially black people. It's part of the pitch. And I don't think you can understand what has happened here without understanding that.
Exactly. It's the same attitude. It's spot on. It's reinforcing the narrative of, it's reinforcing the narrative that you need a gun to defend yourself from urban crime. 100%. That's exactly what it is. It's the same principle behind the McCloskeys becoming famous within the Republican world for running outside with their AR-15s when there were Black Lives Matter protests happening in their gated community. This is a way to sell guns. It's a way to sell guns through a white supremacist fantasy of vigilante justice being enacted towards those who you are terrified of, those who you believe have done something wrong. Absolutely what's going on. That's why I said it's the exact same mentality behind Governor Greg Abbott fantasizing about immediately pardoning Daniel Daniel I don't want to fuck up his name. It's Daniel Perry is the shooter, I think, right? I don't want to. Yeah, it is Daniel Perry who was the. Yeah. Garrett Foster is the person who he shot. But it's the same principle. Because Daniel Perry went to a Black Lives Matter rally, said he was going to shoot people. He fantasized about shooting protesters, and then he drove his car into a Black Lives Matter rally and then shot one of the Black Lives Matter protesters. And he was convicted. He was found guilty by a jury of his peers beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay? And yet, Governor Greg Abbott wants to pardon him. Why? Because that's what they want. They want the law to protect them and them only. if you go out and you shoot Black Lives Matter protesters, like you will be safe. Don't worry. That's the message they want to put out there.
On Sunday after 16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot as he was trying to pick up his siblings last week. Police say Yarl accidentally went to the wrong address where he was shot and seriously wounded by the homeowner. Officers arrived at the scene after a neighbor called 911 and took the homeowner immediately into custody.
Our heart goes out to the juvenile victim, and more than anything, to make sure that this child and this child's family knows that there are people working hard, a number of people working hard, to make sure there is justice for this person.
The homeowner, who has not been identified, was released after 24 hours pending further investigation. The police department says they're waiting to obtain a formal statement from the victim and further forensic evidence.
I want everyone to know that I'm listening.
What? Like, what? You need to know if he was asking for it? Is that what you want? What do you mean? Hey, what if he died? What if he died? No impact statement from the victim in that regard. So what do you do in that situation? You're just like, oh, oops, guess we can't solve it. We just need further forensic evidence. Like, what do you mean? A person literally just went up and fucking domed a teenager. This makes no sense. You would need that. You would need that if you believe that this person was truly acting in self-defense. Yeah, the kid is still alive, yes. And the fact that they didn't actually, like, you know, keep him under custody and immediately launch a formal investigation implies that they kind of do give him credence to that, you know, protecting your ground shit, you know, the castle doctrine.
And I understand the concern that we are receiving from the community. The information that we have now, it does not say that it's racially motivated. That's still an active investigation. But as a chief of police, I do recognize the racial components of this case. I do recognize and understand the community's concern.
Yarl's aunt says her nephew loves music and is a section leader in his march.
2 points of clarification concerning the shooting of Ralph Yarl. The suspect was not detained for 24 hours. He was released in under 2 hours after providing a statement to the police. 2, police recorded a statement from Ralph in his hospital bed on Friday. So, like, they already have his statement.
Marching band. She says his goal is to attend Texas A&M University to study chemical.
The cops literally are behaving like me memeing when I say, like, oh, well, what are the vibes of this kid? Maybe he deserved to be bullied, that sort of thing. But in this circumstance, it's like literally a real situation where a dude shot and intentionally tried to kill a black teenager that came to his door. Okay? Like, they're like, hey, but what about his vibes, though? Was he good at the clarinet? You know what I mean? You want to bet that shooter's a cop or is friendly with the police department? I mean, possibly. Who knows?
Engineering. Civil rights attorneys Lee Merritt and Benjamin Crump are representing the victim and his family and demanding swift action, and are calling the shooting horrendous and unjustifiable.
As a mother of 3 children, this enrages me.
And protesters gathering Sunday outside the home where Yarl was shot, demanding justice.
He is alive. He is healing. Yes. So I just want to tell you thank you for being here because my nephew is alive.
And the homeowner was released. State law says you either have to charge someone or release them after 24 hours. And authorities here say they need more evidence. They want to talk to this teenager.
Yeah. He wasn't released after 24 hours. He was released after 2 hours. So mainstream media playing a little fast and loose with the situation here. Also, no further evidence. Bro, he shot him. How much you want to bet this is some fucking Gran Torino shit? I don't know anything. Okay? I don't know what's going on, but I'm willing to fucking bet that this particular situation, it's an old racist ass dude, I'm assuming. And they were just like, oh, he's just an old guy. You know, he doesn't mean harm to anybody, you know, except for the obvious harm he's conducted. You know? So, what are we going to do? We're going to put him in fucking jail? He might even be like an old cop or something. Apparently he's 84. Oh, there's information on him already?
And they want to continue this investigation. So he was released, and it's part of the reason why people are so upset this morning and why they're asking for justice. Don?
A lot more to unfold in this investigation. Thank you, Camilla Bernal.
I want to turn now to some last minute.
Wait. Accused teen shooter in Kansas?
The Kansas City community protesting on Sunday after 16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot as he was trying to pick up his siblings last week. Police say Yarl accidentally went to the wrong address, where he was shot and seriously wounded by the homeowner. Officers arrived at the scene after a neighbor called 911 and took the homeowner immediately into custody.
Our heart goes out to the juvenile victim, and more than anything, to make sure that this child and this child's family knows that there are people working hard, a number of people working hard, to make sure there is justice for this person.
The homeowner, who has not been identified, was released after 24 hours pending further investigation. The police department says they're waiting to obtain a formal statement from the victim and further forensic evidence.
I want everyone to know that I'm listening, and I understand the concern that we are receiving from the community. The information that we have now, it does not say that it's racially motivated. That's still an active investigation. But as a chief of police, I do recognize the racial components of this case. I do recognize and understand the community's concern.
Everyone's a liberal. Everyone's a liberal. That's like, did Kamala Harris write this, dude? That everyone's a liberal. I recognize the racial components of this, but as of now, we do not believe that there's enough evidence to you know, declare there's a racial component. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's like, when they say that, they mean like, we know the victim is a black teenager and the shooter is a white guy. That's what they're saying, I think. But I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not even a fucking white guy. Maybe he's a black guy. Who knows? I don't have any details of the dude, but old people or people in general in America are fucking terrified. Okay? Oh yeah, they said he's white, actually. Never mind. It is a white guy. But old people in this country, and just like Republicans in this country, gun owners in this country, are fucking terrified. Okay? They're fucking terrified. They constantly watch Fox News, and Fox News is like, black people are coming to your neighborhood. They're going to burn down your favorite Applebee's. Like, all day, every day, that's what they see.
Yarl's aunt says her nephew loves music and is a section leader in his marching band. She says his goal is to attend Texas A&M University to study chemical engineering. Civil rights attorneys Lee Merritt and Benjamin Crump are representing the victim and his family and demanding swift action, and are calling the shooting horrendous and unjustifiable.
As a mother of 3 children, this enrages me.
And protesters gathering Sunday outside the home where Yarl was shot, demanding justice.
He is alive. He is healing. Yes. So I just want to tell you thank you for being here, because my nephew is alive.
Now, the homeowner was placed on a 24-hour hold. This is according to Missouri state law. The thing here is after those 24 hours, he either has to...
He wasn't. That's bullshit. Anyway. Neighbors spoke with CNN. Said they did not hear the shooting because they were asleep, but did say once awake. We came outside. The victim was laying on the street surrounded by a few of our other neighbors. Wild. So, like, a bunch of other neighbors came outside and didn't call the cops? Like, what the fuck? That's nice. He continues to improve. He's responsible for making good progress. After spending 3 nights in the hospital, Ralph is recovering at home, being cared by his mother, who's a nurse. Family turning bankrupt. We have been informed by his family that it was a white man who shot their 16-year-old son, Crump said, explaining that he believes the teen was shot because he's black. It is inescapable not to observe the racial dynamics here, said Crump. If roles were reversed, he continued, how much outrage would there be in America? At a weekend rally, community and family members marched and demonstrated in front of the man's house, calling for charges to be filed. Protesters marched as they chanted "Justice for Ralph," "Black Lives Matter," and carried signs reading, "Ringing a doorbell is not a crime," and "The shooter should do the time." The teen's father said, "We want charges. That's all we want." The family is seeking swift action. When he was trying to pick up his younger brother, when he mistakenly rang the doorbell at the wrong house, a man shot Ralph twice and now he's in critical condition. Someone called the cops or the man wouldn't have been arrested. Man, they didn't even call the fucking ambulance. Do you see? Like, they didn't call 911. People in this neighborhood saw a dude in their neighborhood shoot a black teenager in their neighborhood and immediately didn't go, gunshots, let's call 911. Something is missing from the story? Yes. Details about the shooter. The shooter's motive. He crawled 3 houses before getting help? What? One of the Jarl's attorneys also says that the shooter said, "Don't come back around here," and immediately shot the teen. Jarl went to 3 homes for help. At the third, Jarl, who had been shot in the head, was told to lie on the ground and put his hands in the air. What? Why is CNN not mentioning any of this shit? I know he's out of the hospital now. And his situation continues to improve. And like I said, his mother is taking care of him. His mother's a nurse. I don't get why. I don't understand why CNN is not actually talking about any of this other shit. Emerging details of the incident illustrate the strength and bravery shown by the high school junior after he was shot. A neighbor who asked not to be identified tells CNN she called 911 after Ralph came to her door bleeding. She was directed to stay inside her home by the emergency operator for her safety as the shooter's location was unknown. "I wanted to help him, but they kept saying we don't know where the shooter is at," the woman said. She complied initially, then went outside with towels to help suppress the bleeding. "I kneeled down next to him and I said, 'What's your name? Who shot you?' She said Ralph explained he was supposed to pick up his brother. We figured out then he went to the wrong street, which is no excuse for what happened," she said. "This is somebody's child. I had to clean blood off my door, off my railing. That's someone's child's blood. I'm a mom. This is not okay." While waiting for the ambulance, bleeding from the injuries to the left side of his head and his right arm, the neighbor said Ralph told her he runs the high school track team and plays the bass clarinet in band. "He was very alert," she said. "He's a very strong man, very brave." The aunt's TikTok.
City police say someone inside a Northland home shot a teen in error after the boy drove to the wrong address to pick up younger siblings. Good evening. I'm Shannon Russo.
I'm Kevin Barry.
An error.
Was supposed to go to a home on Northwest 115th Terrace. Instead, he went to a home 1 block over on Northeast 115th Street.
Lake County Prosecutor's Office says that they have not received any.
Wow. an error. Whoopsie, just did a hate crime. Bro, at this point, I'm sorry, but like this has to be, you know, I feel like they're tilting the scales a little bit, right, with their coverage on this shit. I don't know if it's because they partially feel like they're responsible for all the racial animosity that they have highlighted, that they have basically, given constant coverage to, where it's like black people are all over the streets. You know, urban crime is coming to your neighborhood. Watch out. Like, that's all they fucking talk about. So maybe they bear a little bit of responsibility for that. So they're like covering their footsteps, or they're just the same exact amount of racist. And ultimately are covering it this way because they don't give a shit, or because, and this is perhaps the most nefarious, they are scared of the understandable consequences of the inaction from the state, that ultimately they don't want any protest to happen. So they're basically trying to soften the coverage of the issue without giving you a full accounting of what happened, so that there are no protests, which is why they're engaging in what I would consider to be almost a cover-up at this point.
Any criminal referral. But this is still a very active investigation, with police telling us that this teen is in the hospital with injuries that are considered to be life-threatening. At the home where neighbors say it happened, a man vacuums the front steps after replacing a glass door. Fox 4 asked what happened.
I guess you'll have to check with other authorities.
Well, do you know this? Quote, suspect was brought to headquarters to give a statement. Older visitors also did not answer questions. Do you know any details about it?
Yeah, but I'm not at liberty to give that out, man. You know that.
Why not? Well, you're a friend.
Yeah, he's my buddy, man, and I love him to death.
Is he an older guy? It's not this guy, right?
No, come on, man. We all take care of one another, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yo, there was nothing that was an error about that shoot.
Yeah, they take care of one another, you know?
My nephew rang the doorbell. He opened up the door. He shot him in the head and said, "Don't come back here again."
He had surveillance on the house. He knew who was at the door. Oh, yeah. Ring cameras and all, right?
When he fell down, he shot him again. That is not an error.
City police say someone inside a Northland home shot a teen in error after the boy drove to the wrong address.
It's like covering Emmett Till is an error.
Last night, my nephew was on his way.
Okay. Yall was shot in the head, which cracked his skull and left him with a critical traumatic brain injury, the attorney said. While the teenager was still on the ground, the homeowner opened fire a second time, striking Jarl in the upper right arm. How the encounter turned violent so quickly still confuses Jarl as he recovers, his aunt Faith Spoonmore said. We'll remind him, like, Ralph, you're alive, buddy. And then he has the times where he's like, why? I did nothing wrong. Why? I did nothing wrong. And he just cannot understand why, Spoonmore said. So it's waves. He goes through waves. Merritt said Jarl is now in stable condition and out of the hospital. Police have not released the name of the race of the resident who opened fire. He was taken into custody and held for 24 hours, the maximum. He was not held for 24 hours. Why is everyone in the media saying he was held for 24 hours? Maximum for a suspect until felony charges are filed, Police Chief Stacey Graves said. CNN said he was held for like less than 2 hours and he was a white 80-year-old guy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Police have not released the name of the race of the resident who opened fire. The Kansas City, Missouri Police Department said in a statement Monday that they've submitted the investigative case to the Clay County Prosecutor's Office to review charges. Yarl said the person who shot him was a white man who seemed angry and hostile by his presence on the property, his attorney said. Merritt said the teenager miraculously saved his own life by fleeing and banging on at least 3 neighbors' doors for help. 3. And on the 3rd home, Merritt said the neighbor told Yarl to lie on the ground and put his hands in the air. He complied and then passed out. So even that fucking last neighbor who was like, I'm a mom and I wanted to save his life or whatever, it seems like even she wasn't so fucking nice. I don't know. Maybe they weren't home though. Well, actually, you know what? I bet the mom that came out with the towels and shit was a separate party. Because the person who called 911 said that there were people around the kid that were like looking down at him. Merritt said the neighborhood where the shooting occurred is predominantly white and conservative and commonly referred to among locals as God's country. We've heard reports from black people who live in the neighborhood, who visit the neighborhood, that there seems to be a standing hostility towards black presence in that community. Karen Skinner, who has lived on 115th Street for more than 30 years, said the shooting in her neighborhood surprised her, given how her block is typically quiet and crime isn't an issue. It's a neighborhood in which I'm not even going to walk on my neighbor's yard because they're all very well manicured. Yeah. Skinner said, adding that the street includes many older white homeowners whose children have since grown. In recent years, newer families have been moving in, including a black family, she said, but most residents keep to themselves. By the way, that's what they mean when they say there's no crime. They just mean like there's no presence of black people in our neighborhoods. Yeah, someone in the chat also said this, but in a lot of instances, a lot of people themselves don't even fucking recognize that they're living in a sundown town because they just simply never see black people around. So they just take it for granted and think like, oh no, like there's no crime here, right? And they don't even realize like their neighbors are fucking psychotic racists half the fucking time because, you know, there's no additional racist component, triggering their outwardly aggressive stance against black people in the sense, and by that I mean the presence of a black body. But also, a lot of those people are also blind to these realities. You know, they're blind to the realities of white supremacy in this country. They're privileged. They are unaware. They don't recognize it. So they think it must not exist here. Anyway. Yeah. Media is reporting that the Kansas City man who shot Ralph Yarl, 16, is a white man in his 80s. He hasn't been rearrested as investigators consider whether he's protected by Missouri's Stand Your Ground law. And for you to understand, Stand Your Ground is quite literally the reason for the reason why Stand Your Ground exists as a law is so that the guy who shot this kid, this teenager, can get away with it. That's like the entire purpose of Stand Your Ground. For the record, it's not for like the random cases where like you do have a legitimate home invasion and you fucking shoot to defend yourself. It's not that. This is the whole purpose of it. The whole purpose of it is like, oh, I was afraid. It gives you almost cop-like powers to do what cops do all the time, which is, this isn't Stand Your Ground. This is Castle Doctrine. Castle Doctrine is the original version of Stand Your Ground. Stand Your Ground laws that are designed in places like Florida and whatnot actually come from the Castle Doctrine. It's the same principle. Stand Your Ground is simply a continuation of the Castle Doctrine beyond the Castle Doctrine, outside of your own house. Okay? All of it is also because self-defense, as it's written in the fucking rule of law, is not enough. Just understand that. Because you do have a right to defend yourself. Okay? You just don't have a right to offense yourself. Okay? You can't do like offensive maneuvers normally at the behest of defending yourself, which is why castle doctrine and stand your ground exists to begin with. Okay? That's it. That's why they have extra laws. You know, circumstances where like maybe you didn't actually defend yourself, but you can get away with it by claiming you did because the law allows you to do so. This is the express purpose of it. Moving back to this.
Them where questions came through about how can we stay motivated if we're not going to get a bonus? What can we do? What can we do? Some of them were nice and some of them were not so nice. So I'm going to address this head on. The most important thing we can do right now is focus on the things that we can control. None of us could have predicted COVID. None of us could have predicted supply chain. None of us could have predicted bank failures. But what we can do is stay in front of our customers, provide the best customer service we can, get our orders out our door, treat each other well, be kind, be respectful, focus on the future because it will be bright. It's not good to be in a situation we're in today, but we're not going to be here forever. It is going to get better. So lead by example, treat people well.
This is a Zoom call from a CEO who canceled all employee bonus but took a $6.4 million bonus or so. What the fuck?
Talk to them, be kind, and get after it. Don't ask about what are we going to do if we don't get a bonus. Get the damn $26 million. Spend your time and your effort thinking about the $26 million we need and not thinking about what you're going to do if we don't get a bonus. All right? Can I get some commitment for that? I would appreciate that. I had an old boss who said to me one time, you can visit Pity City, but you can't live there. So people, leave Pity City. Let's get it done.
I can't begin to describe to you how much I despise this pathetic person. This is absolutely insane. We are not going to do calls to violence in the chat. You will get banned for it. Shut the fuck up. Don't be stupid. But oh my Lord.
Thank you. Have a great day.
This is like, is this from a fucking movie? Like, what's happening here? There's no way this person is this fucking villainous in the real world. There's no shot. No, I need additional details. This feels like it's Herman Miller. This is actually the Herman Miller CEO. Don't live in Pity City. Office chair magnet tells employees who want money. By the way, for the longest time, full disclosure, I wanted to work with Herman Miller. One, because I thought Herman Miller had unionized domestically manufactured products. And two, I've been using them for years, right? And they literally were like, nope, no shot. They've worked with plenty of other streamers, but they refuse to work with me. I wonder why. I wonder why. Because I rarely ever seek out advertisers. I don't. The reason for that is because, I don't need to. I usually tell advertisers not to work with me when they are trying to work with me. But Herman Miller, I wanted to get a free chair. The chair I'm currently using was sent to me by them, for the record. But I always thought it was odd that they were just like straight up like, nope, we're not going to work with you. Now I understand a little bit more as to what the company culture is about, at least at the executive level. I am using the Herman Miller. Don't ask about what we're going to do if we don't get a bonus? Get the damn 26 million. Spend your time and your effort thinking about the 26 million we need and not thinking about what you're going to do if you don't get a bonus. All right? Can I get some commitment for that? She then continued by quoting the advice of a former manager. I had an old boss said to me, don't go to PD City. Miller Knowles' fiscal year has not yet ended, and bonus decisions have not been decided, including for Owen. Nevertheless, the clip was soon enough circulated online, leading to public anger. The company representative said that the clip does not show the full context of what she described as a largely positive meeting. Oh, guys, it's okay. Guys, you don't understand. The rest of the meeting was so sick, though. The context is missing from her sentiment where she told off her workers to suck it the fuck up because they're in, verbatim, in her words, Pity City. Here, let's finish the video.
I had an old boss who said to me one time, you can visit Pity City.
For the record, the reason why I'm finishing this is for the neurodivergent in my fan base who literally cannot comprehend a video that is devoid of the last 3.5 seconds of context, okay? So we're going to do that. We're going back to Pity City real quick because there are people who are completionists in here that will lose their they'll kill themselves if they don't finish the fucking last 3 seconds.
But you can't live there. So people, leave Pity City. Let's get it done. Thank you. Have a great day.
This is where I paused it, by the way. That's what you wanted to see that badly? This last explosion? You think it was worth it to go back to the video? Some of you freakazoids need to fucking dial it back. Do you understand? Holy shit. Chad will literally be like, dude, if you don't show this to me right now, I'm going to do something really fucked up. Anyway, you want to know how much she makes? According to salary.com, for 2022, the president and CEO of Miller Knoll Inc., Andy R. Owen, the woman that we were looking at, made $4.9 million in total compensation. Of this total, $1 million was received as a salary, $1.2 million was received as a bonus, and $800,000 was received in stock options, and $1.4 million was awarded as stock, and $300,000 came from other types of compensation. She says, stop thinking about the bonus.
For generations. Wait.
This is a video about you're wrong about Balenciaga from Fillion. Fillion defends Balenciaga. Nice. It's Balenciaga, Harry. In the explosion was worth it because it's not confirmed. She does not only look like a stereotypical older female liberal CEO on Netflix series C-tier actress, but she also acts like one. I am shocked. This video in and of itself seems fake. It seems too perfect to be real. You know what I mean? She is literally acting out the stereotypical, out of touch, liberal CEO. This woman absolutely voted for Clinton. Oh, you know she did. The real villains are the lazy corporate workers who refuse to come back to offices 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's ruining Herman Miller's business. Yeah. Vulture shit, dude. Anyway. Great stuff overall. It's AI generated. No, it's not AI generated, man. What? What the fuck? No, this is very real. The problem is it's too real. That's what the issue is. It makes me feel like it might not be because it's so convenient for it to be real. Anyway, that's the Herman Miller CEO. Andy fiercely believes in his team and we can accomplish together and will not be dissuaded by a 90-second clip taken out of context and posted on social media. Miller Knoll, an office chair company that makes some of the most well-regarded chairs in the country, including the Aeron Mira, the Eames lounge chair. This is like the ultimate Sneeko cuck chair, by the way. You know, every hotel has the Sneeko chair. The Eames lounge chair is the LeBron James of Sneeko chairs, okay? There's no better cuck chair than the Eames lounge chair. You've probably seen it. It's like it's famous in like aesthetic circles. People always joke about it. Here you go. I'll show it to you and you'll immediately recognize it. Hold on. Blammo. I'm sure you've seen it. This is the mid-century aesthetic. Okay, this is literally the most, you've seen this chair before. Why do you know that? Because I literally watch I look at every fucking dumb aesthetic meme page, okay? Every single one. We ain't all staying in 4-star hotels, rich boy. No hotel has this as a chair. What are you, fucking crazy? Miller Knoll employee speaks out.
We need and not thinking about what you're going to do if we don't get a bonus. All right?
That is CEO Andy Owens from Miller Knoll, formerly known as Herman Miller, a company that I used to work for several years. She received a multi-million-dollar bonus and is telling her employees to leave Pity City because they may not receive their bonuses. And having worked there for several years, I never heard of one employee having a bonus over a couple $100s, if that. But yeah, leave Pity City.
I think this is probably her telling higher level employees that they're not getting bonuses because that's more important for them than it is for the average person that works there. Right? Like it's got to be way more devastating, not for like the average person who gets like $100 at the end of the year and they're like, "Oh man, great." But like actual C-suite people that are not getting the fucking bonuses, I suspect, which is part of the reason why it leaked. Oh, she definitely got a bonus. You know her ass got a bonus. Especially because it's like odd. Why the fuck would she be asking like dudes who work at the warehouse to find $26 million? What the fuck are they gonna do, you know? You got a $6.4 million bonus. You read it, I think. No. I read a tweet. See, now, a tweet saying she got a $6.4 million bonus is very different than a news article saying she got a $6.4 million bonus. Sometimes, even news articles can get information wrong. Okay? So, of course, when I read that tweet saying she got a $6.4 million bonus, I didn't immediately go, oh, she got a $6.4 million bonus. This is important for everyone to learn with respect to media literacy. Sometimes tweets from random Twitter accounts, especially anonymous ones, will lie. Okay? Even if it corresponds to our personal biases, it's always better to try and get the truth. So don't immediately believe that. I'm not even faulting you, chatter. It's understandable. I just don't want you to get caught. with your pants down, believing in some misinformation on the internet. This has led to a period of disruption, as Miller Knoll itself recently put, in which Herman Miller, to acquire Knoll, one of his top competitors in 2021, for $1.8 billion, informed the newly created Miller Knoll to better weather the changes brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Knoll's then CEO stepped down as a result of the transaction, placing Owen, then CEO of Herman Miller, in charge of the newly formed furniture giant. Since then, Owen has tried to cut costs in a variety of ways as the share price plunged. The company announced earlier this month that it would close a manufacturing plant in Wisconsin and lay off 162 employees, and otherwise shifted its focus to more hybrid, collaborative work environments and online sales. For her work, Owen received bonuses of $1.2 million last year and $1.12 million in 2021. Maybe they should reduce the price then. The Herman Millers I see on Costco, etc., cost like $1,000. Oh yeah. Those bonuses seem low for Herman Miller, not gonna lie. Yes, that is because, as we saw on salary.com, she simply received hard cash bonus to the tune of $1.2 million, but this does not feature the stock options that she was given, both as compensation nor as a bonus on top of that. So that's the reason why it is, it seems a little bit less than what you would expect for a CEO of like a massive fucking company. Anyway, new. Clay County prosecutor announces he's filed 2 felony counts against Andrew Lester in the shooting of a 16-year-old Ralph Yar, assault in the first degree, armed criminal action. A warrant has been issued for Lester's arrest. There was a racial component to the case, Clay County prosecutor argues. When asked why there's no attempted murder charge, the prosecutor explained that Lester is being charged with the highest charge under Missouri law. Probable cause statement: rounds were fired through the glass door. Jarl did not enter home. No words were exchanged. Well, that conflicts with the witness testimony, which is odd, especially when you are the fucking prosecutor. The prosecutor is supposed to be on the side of the victim. What the fuck? You are functionally the victim's lawyer and bringing up his case to the state. That's what you're doing, to the government. Very odd that he wouldn't also add that there was words exchanged according to the fucking according to the witness statement from the victim himself. I think the don't come around here was after the first shot, then second shot. Probably means prior to the shooting. I think the witness said, Ralph's testimony, and we'll learn more about this as more details come out, but I think Ralph's testimony implied that he said it before he started shooting. But at least, the prosecutor is doing a decent job. He's going to do whatever he can to get a fucking conviction, so. And he said it was possibly racially motivated. Okay. Moving back to Fox News' defamation trial, there's a delay, which has sparked speculation of possible settlement. Here is CNN's John King on more details on this drama/court case.
A drama in the Fox News defamation case. That trial was supposed to start today, but it has been delayed. And CNN watched as lawyers for Dominion Voting Systems brought more than 40 boxes into the courthouse today, most likely evidence and other materials. CNN's Oliver Darcy joins us now. He's outside the courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware. Oliver, what is happening?
some 11th hour twist, really casting into question whether a trial, John, is even going to take place. Right behind me was where it's supposed to have started. Opening arguments were supposed to be taking place right about now, but last night the judge abruptly delayed the trial, saying it's going to now start on Tuesday, and there's no reason given. The judge said today that he doesn't find it unusual for this to have been delayed by one day, but Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal, as well as some other outlets now, reporting that a last-minute settlement might be in the works, that Fox might be pushing to settle this case, avert a trial, and really spare some of its high-profile talent and executives like Rupert Murdoch from having to take the stand and testify as to why they allowed election lies to be broadcast on Fox's air, despite knowing that they were not true. Now, both sides are still preparing for a trial. The judge said basically to be back tomorrow, and a trial will start if a settlement is not reached. Dominion brought in about 40 boxes earlier of evidence into the courtroom, so they're clearly ready, John, to go to trial if a settlement is not reached. Right now, everything sort of seems just up in the air.
Up in the air. We'll see how the negotiations go behind closed doors. Oliver, keep us posted if anything changes.
Let's bring in our senior legal analyst, Ellie Honig. Good morning. There's so much on the table here.
What a twist.
I know. The plot thickens.
What a twist. Why would a judge do this?
Well, so if you...
Dude, don't settle. No, you're too pretty. Don't do it. Don't settle. No. Come on now. That's a bummer. That's a real bummer. On chat. On. Isn't part of the settlement making them apologize? No, but I want more. I want more out of this. I want like discovery. I want to see what happened. You know what I mean? Because the more the court goes on, the more content we get.
You go to a judge in either a criminal or civil case on the eve of trial and say, we're making close progressions towards a settlement, or in a criminal case, this is not a criminal case, towards a guilty plea. Often judges will say, okay, I'll give you a day, I'll give you 2 days, maybe I'll give you a week, I'll give you a chance to work it out. I think that's the most likely scenario. We've seen reporting consistent with that as well.
So you think there's probably those talks somewhere going on?
Yeah, there's something about being on the eve of trial that can really sober up both parties. It's a reality, right? Look at it from Fox's point of view. They're looking at the likelihood, if there's a trial, of having all of their, or many of their most prominent anchors have to take the stand, testify, and get cross-examined.
See, that's what I'm saying. That come on, chat. You don't want to see that? You're telling me you don't want to see, like, Tucker Carlson on the stand as he's asked about all the, he's asked about all the text messages between him and like Laura Ingraham about how much he fucking hates Donald Trump. That's part of the reason why Rupert Murdoch will never do this, and that's probably the reason why they will settle. Because they don't want us to have content. They're pieces of shit. Okay? They're absolute pieces of fucking shit. It's bullshit. Give us some goddamn content, man. You've been giving us white supremacist content for the past however many years that Fox News has been around. Give us some content that like we like. You know what I mean?
And the owners and
the
top executives.
And the executives, and up to and including Rupert Murdoch. And so you can understand why they would be hit by reality at the last moment and say, we need to avoid this. And, another question is, why would Dominion be interested in potentially settling this? Because as we've discussed, I think Dominion has a very strong case here for defamation. But the fact of the matter is, nothing's sure when it comes to a jury. There's always risk when it comes to a jury trial. A jury's just 12 human beings. You never know what they're going to do.
So if there is a settlement, help us understand, because it's beyond how much money they settle for, which I think gets a disproportionate amount of attention.
Yeah, but how much is a lot of dough?
I understand that. I think also the company has a lot of money. What I think is fascinating, if there is a settlement, is does it come with an admission of guilt, an apology,
right,
or an admission of wrongdoing?
So there's a couple things that are in play here if there's a negotiation. First of all, of course, there's the amount. Parties will go back and forth on that. Second of all, will this be confidential? Usually settlements like this are confidential. We don't know the numbers unless we get it through reporting, but we wouldn't know it officially. But the parties are free to negotiate. This number will or will not be confidential. And then the parties can negotiate for any sort of admission of guilt, statement, acknowledgement, retraction, et cetera. But keep in mind, the judge here has already made a finding as a matter of law that Fox's statements about the 2020 election and about Dominion were false. So that is on the record. The only question at trial was going to be, is there actual malice? Did Fox know, or were they reckless about the falsity? So no matter what, Dominion has that finding of falsity.
Okay, so then 1.6 billion, you're right, it's a lot of money, but Fox has deep pockets, right?
Yes.
And their viewers will probably not believe, that they did anything wrong, that they were targeted, so I'm not sure what it does to their credibility, right? Because it's kind of, what I'm talking about.
The facts are out there, right? We've all seen the texts. They're all out there, and we have the finding from the judge about falsity.
So then $1.6 billion, if they go to court and they win, are they likely to get that? And if they settle, how much money are we talking about?
So I don't think there was any realistic chance of Dominion getting $1.6 billion in compensatory damages, meaning the amount we were damaged, the amount we have to be paid.
I'm not going to lie. They're so cooked. They are so incredibly fucking cooked. What are they supposed to do? How are they gonna make money? Half the country, they're supposed to present themselves as this apolitical, outside of politics, vote tabulator, right? So when the largest news broadcaster on the planet unjustifiably pushes forward with the defamation that they are biased and they are working with Joe Biden, it's your reputation, you could genuinely make an argument for super high compensation for the damages. I'm not even kidding. Especially considering that Discovery is so over-encompassing. They have conversations that revolve. They have conversations between Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham in there, which means they could probably even find malice as well. I don't know. I just want them to destroy Fox News, honestly. It would be so fire. It's not going to happen, but it would be so sick if they did that. So, let's see what happens.
Paid back to get us back to zero. The entire company, by its own valuation, is worth anywhere from $30 to $80 million, but that's not even 10% of 1.6 billion. Yes, Dominion is worth it. So from Dominion's point of view, I think $1.6 billion was always a very optimistic ask. Now, keep in mind, though, they could also get punitive damages. And so if Fox is looking at this, they're saying, okay, Dominion's asking for $1.6 billion to compensate them, but also punitive damages on top. So again, you can see the high-end risk that Fox would be running at a trial here.
Yeah. Don't go on vacation this weekend.
Right, and then Fox
we'll
also apologizing to that judge for not presenting.
Well, they got in trouble with the judge on a couple big issues last week that could incentivize them too.
Thank you, Ellie.
2 new details on the stabbing death of.
So this was an interesting story. From what I understand, the fucking CashApp guy was stabbed by someone who apparently knew him. But originally, that didn't stop everybody in the San Francisco area from running with the crime is rampant here narrative. It seems like it wasn't just a random stabbing that occurred, but instead one that was premeditated. But, like I said, that didn't stop people from cutting propaganda to claim that, look at San Francisco. Look at how crazy crime is in San Francisco. People are getting stabbed now.
CashApp founder Bob Lee, who police say was murdered by another tech entrepreneur on a San Francisco street. New court documents allege a possible motive in the attack, and DeMarco Morgan has the story. Good morning, DeMarco.
I mean, look at this. Okay, well, maybe. Breaking. Mission Local has learned the San Francisco police this morning traveled to Emeryville to make the arrest of in the April 4th killing of tech exec Bob Lee. The alleged killer also works in tech and perpetually newly, right? And meanwhile, motherfuckers were saying this. Our society seems to have become seriously complacent. 100 years ago in San Francisco, people were publicly hung for their crimes, often by vigilante groups that wanted to send a message. The hangings worked. Crime would plummet after a few of them, often many months at a time. Like, very sorry to hear that. Many people I know have been severely assaulted. Violent crime in San Francisco is horrific. And even if attackers are caught, they're often released immediately. That's not true. Okay, that's not true. It's just a fucking fanciful narrative that they just make up that like a person that stabbed another person is like immediately released from police custody is the most insane fucking thing. And yet people believe it for some reason. Oh my God. Anyway. Is the city taking stronger action to incarcerate repeat violent offenders? The only time when someone who is like violent but is released after being in police custody is when they are like an old white guy, or they are the guy who drove his car into a fucking BLM rally. Okay? Hate to say it, but that is the only time. Off-duty cops, too. You're right. Anyway. Yeah, people were literally talking about, like, hanging motherfuckers from the gallows. Like, let's go find homeless people and brutalize them shit. You know what I mean? That type of shit. Meanwhile, it's a person who knows him.
Rebecca, good morning to you. The new details are shocking in what has already proven to be a disturbing case. Prosecutors calling it a planned and deliberate attack. This morning, 38-year-old Nima Momini now behind bars for the stabbing death of tech exec and founder of CashApp, Bob Lee. Police say the two men knew each other and got into an argument shortly before the horrific attack.
Stabbing not alert, responding control A1, your tech is A13, PD's around.
Momini, who runs his own tech company, making his first court appearance Friday. He's seen in these sketches signaling a heart symbol with his hands to his family. His sister, Kazar, now at the center of the case, who prosecutors say was a friend of Lee.
I'm Bob Lee, and I'm MobileCoin's freshly minted, not mine, that would be Bitcoin, Chief Product Officer.
In the hours leading up to Lee's death, prosecutors say a friend who was drinking with Lee and Momini's sister earlier that evening witnessed a conversation where Momini had asked Lee if his sister had been doing drugs or anything inappropriate. Lee allegedly reassuring Momini nothing inappropriate happened. That night, police say Lee joined Momini and his sister at the Millennium Tower, where the two men later left together and drove off to a dark, secluded area in Momini's BMW around 2 a.m.
Mr. Momini was driving. They ended up in the area of the stabbing, and that is where they exited the vehicle, and approximately 5 minutes later is when the stabbing took place.
Police reviewing these images obtained by thedailymail.com showing Lee stumbling to an apartment building, then collapsing. Prosecutors say Momini stabbed Lee 3 times with a 4-inch kitchen knife, including 1 hit to the heart. Momini's sister saying in text messages later recovered from Lee's phone that morning, "Just want to make sure you're doing okay, because I know Nima came way down hard on you, and thank you for being such a classy man, handling it with class." Momini arrested 9 days after the attack on 1 count of murder, but investigators not ruling out other potential suspects.
This case is not closed. So long as the investigation is open, it can always yield additional perpetrators.
The suspect's arraignment has been postponed until next week. Guys?
DeMarco, our thanks to you for your reporting.
Well, hey there.
is breaking news, some good news. Let's do some good news from friends of the show, More Perfect Union. TV and movie writers just voted to authorize a strike that could shut down Hollywood. Writers are making less than they were 10 years ago while corporate profits have skyrocketed, and they are not standing for it. Let's take a look.
I write for a show called Abbott Elementary that's on ABC, which is a traditional network. But the next day, we're on Hulu, and a little bit after that, we're on HBO Max and Disney Plus. So the amount for...
I can't wait for this to be, of course, not received as like a real working class labor union strike because they're Hollywood, you know, or they're black and gay, you know, typical like aesthetic focused fucking weirdos will overlook this kind of labor action.
For a re-air on the network is $13,500, and the amount that you're paid for that episode being on new media streaming is $700.
Hollywood is broken. And no, it's not because Chris Pratt was cast as Mario or that Emperor Palpatine somehow came back from the dead in the last Star Wars movie, although those are both admittedly bad.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
It's because the television industry has evolved in a way that abandons the very people who bring richness and diversity in characters and stories to our screens. Yes, we're talking about streaming. And while I've been a part of the onslaught of people sitting at the feet of HBO Max on many Sunday nights waiting for the next episode of Game of Thrones to drop, I would hope and expect that the people who wrote that masterpiece are being rewarded for captivating all of our eyeballs. Well, they're not. Not like they used to be anyway.
The economic pillars that our industry have been built upon have, in the last decade, been turned on their head.
Television writers are being paid less money for these complex, multifaceted, unique narratives that bring companies like Warner Bros., Disney, and Netflix billions upon billions of dollars every year. And now, writers are understandably at their limits. And soon, that could affect you.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Right now, Hollywood writers are in a heated contract dispute with the 9 largest production studios. At the center of that fight is something called residuals, one of the most important ways that writers get paid.
Residuals are payments that are made every quarter by the companies to the writers for the content that they create.
The WGA contracts that currently exist were built upon a model where the content providers generated the revenue through ad sales. So if I write an episode of television that re-airs over and over and over again, every time that episode re-airs, the content provider generates revenue, and a little piece of that revenue gets shared with everyone that contributed to the creation of it. Now, their revenue is made almost exclusively through monthly or annual subscriptions. So there is no re-airing. People can watch what they want when they want, which means that we're not getting the same residuals that we once would have.
What I'm accustomed to as a broadcast writer, as a residual, like $20,000 for an episode of TV, in streaming, I just got a check for the same project for $23. And what's happening a lot is that at a certain point, after a certain couple of years, a streamer has...
Isn't Will Neff a screenwriter for his day job? Does this affect him, or does he know anything about it personally? I mean, I think Will is Writers Guild, but he's not a screenwriter for his day job. What do you mean? He doesn't like write currently on a fucking TV show or a movie or something. What do you think? Like you think Will is just like writing for a TV show secretly, like as it stands? I do have a lot of writer friends who I do have writer friends who have written for TV shows that are in circulation that also end up going to a streamer. And yes, the residuals are cut very short, unfortunately, because streamers are seen as a way for like larger corporations to maintain a higher percentage. Higher percentage of the profits, sorry.
To continue paying residuals, and instead of doing that, they much rather just pull the product from their app. And so that's what we're seeing a lot of. Content that we create 5 years from now, completely gone, and we are not getting any residual compensation out of it.
So if you have a favorite show that you loved that you can't find anywhere anymore, it's because those content providers don't want to pay the creators of the show for the right to air it.
Remember when HBO Max removed its very own Emmy Award-winning hit Westworld from its streaming library? Hate to break it to you, that was over residuals. Another issue at the heart of the writer's contract dispute is something called mini rooms, which is basically a cute way to refer to writer's rooms that essentially do the same work with a fraction of the workers in a fraction of the time to turn over a larger profit.
Historically speaking, a writer's room was generally only constructed for a program that had been ordered to series, that you were guaranteed to see at least the first few episodes of on television. It meant that the content providers spent millions of dollars on a pilot episode. They watched the pilot episode, they said, we love this, let's order it to series, and a writer's room was created. Increasingly, they are saying, you know what? Let's not spend those millions of dollars on a pilot. Let's spend significantly less money on a number of mini rooms where we will hire a smaller number of writers per project, and we will order 2 or 3 or 4, however many scripts without actually shooting any of it. And then we can look and read those scripts and decide whether or not this is a season of television we want to invest tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in.
And what writers were seeing a lot of were the streamers were only going to pay weekly compensation to all writers regardless of level. So you could be a co-executive producer with 10 years of experience who might have sold some development, so you have a proven track record. You could be making the same as a staff writer who this is their very first job right out the gate.
We should be able to say, hey, I'm making more money now than I was making 10 years ago, because that's how careers work in every industry. You don't work the same job for 10 years and make less money than you did when you first started doing it, and that's what's happening to us.
It's fine if they want to hire us weekly on shows that have not been ordered to series yet, that they're just collecting scripts for. But we need to be compensated in the same way that we were compensated when we were writing shows that they were putting on the air. It's the same time and creative energy being put into those scripts. The fact that these content providers might be choosing not to make them doesn't mean that we're working less hard on them and that.
Yeah, I mean, every single battle in entertainment that has been fought over the course of the past, 5 years have almost always and entirely revolved around streamers, because streamers are owned, like the streaming platforms are owned. I don't know, he just got here. They're owned by the companies themselves. They're owned usually by the major, the major publishers themselves. So it's a way for them to squeeze out more profit from the same works, the same IP. Wasn't the last writer's strike about this very same thing? No, it wasn't a writer's strike about this. That was like producers, stagehands, and everyone else involved with the streamers. That was IATSE. And then before then it wasn't producers. What was it? There was another one. There was another strike that revolved around streamers. Last writer's strike guild was people not getting paid. No, I'm not talking about the mid-2000s one. No. There was another. Fuck, what was it? No, the IATSE one is different. The IATSE one was about like producers and film set workers not getting paid. Like people. It was WGA versus the agencies. Oh, okay. It was the Writers Guild versus the agencies. But that was about streamers as well. The writer strike killed Heroes. What a disappointment of a TV show. I mean, David Zaslav, Warner Bros. Is one of the most overpaid CEOs in history. I mean, yeah, okay. The Ayatse one was different. The Ayatse one was the one that we covered recently. That was about offering more, like hiring more and having less time on call, because they were having and you know, setting standards for like hotel accommodations and whatnot, like quality of life improvements in the workplace. Totally reasonable questions, totally reasonable demands that they had. They were working like insane, like 14, 15 hours and then fucking falling asleep while driving home.
We should be paid less for the creation of them.
At the end of the day, this all comes down to greed. In 2000, the combined entertainment operating profits of the production studios was $5 billion. By 2019, with the advent of streaming and the addition of companies like Netflix in the mix, they were up to $30 billion. Streaming has boosted corporate profits, but writers are actually earning less now.
It is absolutely undeniable that the streaming platforms are generating mountains of money through their subscription base. What they're choosing to do with that money is an entirely different question.
There's this misconception outside of Hollywood that writers are bougie, six-figure people who live in palaces in Beverly Hills, and why are they complaining about what more compensation? And that's couldn't be far from the truth.
The fight that the writers in this industry are battling is probably not very different from the fight that they or friends or relatives have been facing with the consolidation of power and money. There are fewer and fewer corporations holding more and more of the purse strings and protecting the coffers and the coins more and more greedily. And that's certainly not unique to our industry.
We are making less money now than we were making 10 years ago, and the industry is shifting to prioritize streaming, and none of our pay structure or the amount of money that we're paid reflects those changes. They are treating everything like TV operates the same as it did 10 years ago, and I think everyone, even viewers, know that's just not true. The industry needs to catch up.
If push comes to shove, a strike is incredibly important to show these companies that we mean business and that we won't stand for them trying to take our livelihoods in Hollywood.
I found out my neighbor in my modest apartment building was a writer for a pretty famous show. They're definitely not getting paid six figures law, especially not anymore. There was a time and place in America where you could have like one commercial jingle and you could like get a fucking fat stack of cash off that shit. You know what I mean? Those times are long gone. Not like a real viable career any longer. You know? If it's anything like previous writer strike, there will be an uptick in reality TV to fill the gap. So remember to boycott reality TV. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But yeah, there will probably be an uptick in reality TV. Someone in the chat was mentioning that HBO Max rebranding the Max right in time with a Discovery merger. Okay. With the Discover merger, will actually create a lot more reality TV focused content. Remember TLC and shit. So we will get even more unhinged stuff. That's the last time reality TV popped off. The last time there was a major writer strike because they moved away from scripted to non-scripted. So we'll see what happens. I mean, let's be real. A lot of movies and TV shows have sucked for a while now. A strike doesn't seem like a bad thing. Yeah, you're right, man. You don't like the TV shows and movies that are coming out. So I think those people should not get paid. I agree. And that more importantly than that, it's not even than them getting paid. I think that the people who are pumping out this kind of content, who are demanding this kind of content, the executives, because they think consumers are going to enjoy it, should take more of their profits. Because the conversation should always be centered around who gets to keep the profits. So when you make an argument like that, when you talk about like, oh, well, TV shows suck nowadays, it's all woke. Or, I don't know, TV shows suck nowadays, it's all bland and boring. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm not watching these fucking TV shows, but someone is. And these TV shows are still making money. So what you're essentially saying is that I want the CEOs to retain larger shares of the value that is being created from these TV shows that people are watching, not me, others, okay? And you know, give it back to their shareholders instead of the people that are making the TV shows, whether it be the production crew, or whether it be like the actual cast and crew, whether it be the actual writers or the directors, but instead just the people that don't actually touch it, but the money people, the people that handle the money. That's crazy to me. I think that that's wild. Let's talk about the fucking psycho Ali Alexander, who you might remember from Stop the Steal, the Stop the Steal organizer. He has now been forced to apologize after being accused of asking teen boys for dick pics, to a surprise to absolutely zero people on the fucking planet. I mean, who would have guessed that the fucking weirdo Nazis are also pedophiles? Who? I mean, oh my God, I'm so shocked. It is so shocking. What is this? Secret police? Anyway. Are you going to Coachella? No. Every accusation, a confession. Yes. This is the every accusation, a confession part of the broadcast. Okay? A key figure in the pro-Trump Stop the Steal campaign has apologized after being accused of asking teenage boys for sexual pictures. Ali Alexander, I'm going to cover very little of him. But this week, Alexander stands at the center of a scandal that raises questions about how powerful men in the far right treat their younger acolytes. This is so gay, Alexander said in a statement issued Friday night that addressed the allegation in broad terms. Well, you know, not really. Or I guess maybe. I mean, I guess it is technically, isn't it? Is it gay? I mean, it's more so pedophilia than gay. It's like you're a pedophile first and then gay second. Alexander, who has described himself as bisexual in the past, added that he was battling with the same-sex addiction. That's the problem. It's not the pedophilia. It's the homosexuality. Oh, that's what it is, dude. That's the bad part, huh? Are you fucking insane? This is absolutely, literally priests do the same shit. Priests will be like, yeah, the pedophile stuff is like excusable, but the homosexuality, we cannot. The church does not condone this. The budding online scandal is also roiled the pro-Trump and white supremacist America First movement. Just months after it reached new levels of notoriety after his leader, Nick Fuentes, dined with Donald Trump and rapper Kanye West at Mar-a-Lago. I apologize, he said, Ali Alexander said, for any inappropriate messages sent over the years. When I flirted or others have flirted with me, I flexed my credentials or dropped corny pickup lines. Other times I've been careless and should have qualified those coming up to me. Those coming up to me's identities during the flirtation banter at the start. Alexander didn't respond to comments from the Daily Beast. In his statement, he also claimed he'd been targeted by false accusations and edited screenshots of his message, but declined opportunities to point out which accusers or screenshots aren't legitimate. Rumors about Alexander's sexual behavior towards younger men have circulated in conservative online circles since at least 2015, but they reached a new level last month after Milo Yiannopoulos, the controversial British provocateur, turned on Ali after Alexander and Fuentes pushed him out of a potentially lucrative position in West's nascent presidential campaign. Yiannopoulos started releasing video interviews and other evidence meant to prove that Alexander sexually propositioned both adult men in their 20s and at least 2 teenagers. Yiannopoulos, whose own career as a far-right pundit imploded in 2017 after remarks he had made downplaying the seriousness of pedophilia surface, claims he has more damaging videos to release about Alexander and Fuentes. Wow. I mean, let them fight. It's like they're all Nazi pedophiles, dude. Every single one of them. Ironically, of course, they claim that like being gay automatically makes you a pedophile, which, I mean, I guess technically both Ali and Yiannopoulos are, but they're pedophiles. That's different, okay? They're pedophiles first. The irony of these people constantly saying like, oh, if you're queer, you're a pedophile. No, man, that's just a you thing, I think. You know? Yiannopoulos claims he's releasing the video against Alexander because Alexander dropped Yiannopoulos' name to entice young men. One screenshot purports to show Alexander dangling the prospect of a meeting with Yiannopoulos to a teenage boy. The reason why I'm doing this is because he used my name, says Yiannopoulos. So he told the Daily Beast. In 2017, Aiden Duncan, a 15-year-old boy in Colorado interested in right-wing politics, sent Alexander nude pictures after the MAGA activist asked him for them, according to an account Duncan gave in a March 2023 podcast appearance. While Duncan was a high school sophomore just starting out in politics, Alexander was a 32-year-old with a decade of political work for the Republican Party behind him. I don't know what to say about this. Okay, I don't know. Like, I truly don't know what to say about this. It's just like, I mean, we know it's the case. So many of these Nazi motherfuckers are just straight up pedophiles. Straight up. The pedocon theory is real, 100%. I just don't know why it's like allowed. What's up with that? Is the FBI just being like, yeah, these guys are informants, so it's fine? Like, what is it? Is that what it is? The Republican Party... The Republican Party has a serious pedophile problem. You know? This kid went on to become a full-blown Nazi in the news, too. Young Colorado GOP activist identified as white nationalist. Groyper making anti-Semitic threats. Oh, this is the guy. Is this the guy? Aiden Duncan. On the Trump 2020 victory campaign field organizer, Region 4. Looks like someone has identified Smiley the Friend, a.k.a. Smiley the Fed, as Aiden Duncan from Loveland, Colorado. Duncan is a dedicated follower of white nationalist Nick Fuentes and was set to join January 6th rioter Anthime Gione, a.k.a. Baked Alaska, on a multi-state RV trip last week. Bro, I'm going to tell you this, okay? Every single one of these groypers, every single one of these fucking groypers is exactly like this. And then whenever one of them is outed in the media as being like a gay pedophile, they go, oh, that's not like us. That's a gay pedophile. We are different. We're so different. And it's like, no, you're not. You are literally, you are him. Get the fuck out of these circles, man. It's always the same shit. Anyway, while Duncan was a high school sophomore just starting out in politics, he did that. You'll have me sharing my entire network with you, Alexander told Duncan, according to Snapchat screenshots, a review by the Daily Beast. Originally from Dallas, Alexander pleaded guilty to felony property theft in 2007 and felony credit card abuse in 2008. But despite his criminal background, Alexander, who was then using his legal name, Ali Akbar, oh my God, managed to rise in the GOP during the online conservative backlash to the Obama administration. Leveraging his position writing for blogs with names like Hip Hop Republican, Alexander received funding from billionaire conservative mega donor Robert Mercer, organized a national club for bloggers that later faced questions about how Alexander spent the money he raised, and hosted an annual party at the Conservative Political Action Committee. I just want to point one more time, any single motherfucker who's dumb enough to be like, dude, Hasan, you're such a grifter, you're such a grifter. There is no left-wing grifter that gets billionaire funding. Okay? But if you're a shitty blogger with like 11 fucking people visiting your website called Hip Hop Republican, you still get the attention and donations from a multi-billionaire like Robert Mercer. Please open up your fucking brain. That's why the grifting only goes in one direction and never the other. Okay? Oh, hip hop Republican. Oh my Lord. Bezos billionaire, you leftist. He fund you, baby boy. Yeah, dude. Jeff Bezos came to me and plucked me to give me billions of dollars for my zero circulation podcast. Are you fucking that stupid? You must be joking, right? There's no way someone could be that absolutely fucking brain broken and brain dead. No, dumbass. People voluntarily give me subscriptions, which Jeff Bezos takes a fucking fat chunk of. Okay? That's the point. That's the difference. Oh, you're joking. You're a 4-month subscriber. You already know. There's a difference between what Ali Alexander was doing, which is, I'm a brown guy, but I'll say the most racist, unhinged shit you've ever seen. Please give me money, sir. Versus someone who has fucking like 66,000, 67,000 fucking subs. Anyway. Christ. But they all say I'm the fucking grifter. Yeah, so every leftist who is funded by their boss, yeah, exactly. No, if you have a job, if you're getting paid by your boss, you're a grifter. You can't be a leftist. You have to be a right-wing guy. Anyway. So yeah, he was using Milo Yiannopoulos. Oh, these guys are like the grossest fucking nerds too. How are you 15 years old and you're literally like, oh my God, I can't wait to meet Milo Yiannopoulos. Like, you're such a pathetic fucking loser, dude. Of course he became this like weird right-wing anti-Semitic white nationalist groiper who calls himself friend online. You know what I mean? It's not even remotely shocking to me. Oh my God, I hate every single person here. Like, even, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to consider that these guys are groomed by an even larger fucking demon, okay? They're groomed by an even larger fucking demon, and they're still in their adult lives. Understand something. This person is no longer 15. He was groomed when he was 15, okay? He's now, what, how many years has it been? 15 in 2017, it's been 6 years. 21 years old. 21 fucking years old. And he's still like on the timeline, even after all of that experience. Even after the fucking dumbass like right-wing groiper movement fucking died. He's still trying to, LARP as a Nazi online, on the timeline. Oh, yes, friend. Oh, friend this, friend that. Think about that. That shit's crazy. Oh. One of my friends, a 39-year-old American, slipping into that friend bullshit. Oh, God. It's also like the weirdest, lamest fucking thing you could do to speak like someone with like a genuine, serious mental health issue. Like, not even mental health issue, like an intellectual disability. It's very odd to do that as a 39-year-old. I don't understand it. Speculated about whether the boy would be Alexander's arm candy and suggested he would have to be entertaining. Rolling with me, Alexander wrote, writing according to the message. Mostly, I'll have an entourage. Depends. Depends. If it's me babysitting you during the day, then no. I don't have kids. If it's something more entertaining, then maybe. All depends on what we're up to. No matter what, I'll let you meet Milo. There's probably 5 people I'll introduce to him. But who will be my arm candy? The one with me always in VIP in and out? Well, that's to be determined by the boy who plays his cards the most correct. Arm candy over babysitting, Alexander added, according to the screenshot. Other screenshots show how Duncan sending Alexander a picture which was redacted in the version of the screenshot reviewed by the Daily Beast. Alexander responded with face heart eyes emoji, asking the teenager which app Alexander should use to send him money. Bro, he's talking about VIP at the CPAC, dude. Like, think about that. God, these people are they're so pathetic. They are so disastrously fucking pathetic. It's like, yeah, you'll get to meet the McCloskeys up close and personal, babe. I don't want you to get really excited. But Dan Bongino, he sat next to me last year, and you might get a chance at meeting him. It's like, dude, I would literally kiss myself if this was my life. I would kiss myself. I would take a cold, hard look at the situation, and I would kiss him. I would kiss myself, okay? I'd be done. There's no shot. Like, they're so incredibly fucking cringe. An undated series of screenshot, and also criminal for the record. Like, it's just like, it's a weird situation because it's so gross and so criminal, but also to make matters worse, I guess, the cringe is so through the fucking roof when you think about the stakes that, like, it almost comes to the forefront. But yeah, still primarily criminal and should be acted on. But of course, half of these motherfuckers are already working with the federal government, so it won't. We all know the federal government loves pedophiles when they can use them as CIs and shit. So, make what you will with that information. If you're wondering, why haven't these criminal pedophiles been convicted of soliciting nudes from minors? This sucks, man. Why does this always have to happen in my faves? Never meet your heroes. Yeah. Boundaries are cool. Everything is secret and private, one rule read. We're family. Ew. He asked for secrecy and sort of a quid pro quo relationship between sexual availability and career opportunities. I mean, he basically wrote out the boundaries. Like, he was like, yeah, if you fucking send me a dick pic, like, you can advance, which is insane. Oh, it's like not just pedophilia, but it's incestuous pedophilia. Boundaries are cool, the message reads. Allowed to say no. However, the less you deprive me of, the less I deprive you of. I'm a big sharing person, unless it's not even. Finally, according to the messages, Alexander asked Duncan to be mindful of each other's reputation. He said, yeah, if you don't, it's fine if you have boundaries, but like, don't send me dick pics like you might not fucking get, again, to the RNC this year. Okay, that's what the stakes are. I just don't, like, how is this any different than, like, the alleged misconduct of like, what's his name? Bryan Singer or, Kevin Spacey. Except instead of getting a fucking role in, like, a movie, in a Hollywood production, and possibly becoming famous, your career highlight is going to be sitting next to Laura Ingraham at the fucking RNC. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God. Alexander had grown frustrated by May 2019, claiming that the still underage Duncan wouldn't send him good jack-off material, according to the screenshots. You don't even send me videos anymore, Alexander wrote, according to the message. Not good jack-off, no good jack-off material. Don't even want to be my side piece. A day later, he asked Duncan to come to Texas for a week for an internship. Duncan, now 21, has since become a relatively high-profile member of Fuentes' Racist America First movement, going by the name Smiley. On Spencer's podcast, Duncan said he believes Fuentes knew about the rumors about Alexander's alleged solicitation of nude photos. I think Nick is 100% aware, Duncan said on the podcast. Last Thursday, Duncan posted a statement on Twitter about his communications with Alexander. When I was 15, I was naive and desperate. I thought I had no choice but to cooperate with inappropriate and humiliating requests if I wanted to make it in politics. I figured that was just the nature of the game. Okay, but like, one part of this that I don't understand, okay, is like what? So you're still a Nazi and you're basically saying like, I wanted to do it for the love of the game. And it's really fucked up that Ali Alexander was like utilizing my ideological predisposition towards fascism for getting dick pics out of me as a minor. It's like, really? That's the argument here? Like, that's what you're frustrated about? It's like when those white supremacist women came out, like Faith Goldie and like Lauren Southern and them, they came out and were like, wow, it's really fucked up that the right-wing movement is mistreating us because we're not barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Yeah, no shit. What do you mean? Why would you ever get respect from an entire movement that you have reconfirmed your commitment to over and over again that literally revolves around making sure that you stay in the fucking kitchen? Alexander started messaging 17-year-old Lance Johnson in the summer of 2019. The floppy-haired teen was a rising star in conservative TikTok communities, amassing more than 140,000 followers under the screen name Lance Videos. Johnson and Alexander... Okay, I got to see this motherfucker. What? Lance Videos? What the fuck is this? The account is gone.
So tell me you're that somebody.
Wait, this is the guy? Is this Lance Video?
Then girl, I fuck who I want and fuck who I don't. Got that A1 credit, that's that filet mignon.
Doing an incognito or your algo will be so fucked. Wait, which one is it? I don't even know which one of these fucking twigs is the...
So tell me you're that somebody, girl.
The middle one? How the fuck am I supposed to know? On the right, here's his Twitter.
What did you just take?
Lance used to work at Hobby Lobby. My honest reaction. She dated me for clout. She lied about me for clout. Who is this fucking... I mean, it seems like he's still very much active. This is the guy. He's a Texas American nationalist. It seems like he's still very much active in the conservative movement, running around. My friend at the time had told me that he heard some weird rumors about him, Johnson told the Daily Beast. At first, I was kind of like, I don't know. I was 17. I just got into politics. Alexander moved oddly quickly towards discussing sex with a teenager, according to Johnston. In July 2019, in what Johnson claims was the night of the White House social media summit, where Trump feted Alexander and other conservatives as victims of online censorship, the 34-year-old Alexander used the eggplant emoji to ask the teenager, asked the teenager for a picture of his penis, according to the screenshot. Show me your eggplant emoji, Alexander wrote. What's that? Oh my God, dick, Alexander wrote back, according to the picture. Johnson says he refused and quickly blocked Alexander. Johnson took a screenshot of the exchange, but he was fearful of raising the issue more broadly on the far right. I thought in my mind that he would try his best to try and discredit me and ruin me politically and influentially within my time in politics. Still a friend of Johnson's publicized the screenshot, which began circulating in conservative circles. Alexander took a video live streaming app to defend himself. You can have any conversation you want with someone who's 17. What? Bro, this is like the EDP defense. This is what every pedophile says when they're outed. They're like, what do you mean? I just wanted cupcakes. Bro, every single one of these fucking losers is a pedophile. Oh, my Lord. Oh. And then people say, Hasan, why don't you fucking debate these guys? Why in the ever-loving fuck do you think I should give any credence, any legitimacy, any fucking clout to a bunch of pedophile Nazis, man? I don't want to be around these motherfuckers. Wait, 17-year-old would be pedophilia? Average British commentary here. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in as a British person. Yes, it would be, as a matter of fact. Yes, that is still a minor. Yes, if you want to hit me with the actually it's ephebophilia, okay, it's pedophilia by a different name. Okay, there you go. Is that really the semantics argument you want to have? Is that it's pedophilia by a different name? Is that really, truly what you want to have here? Is that what you want to say? Well, no, technically it's not pedophilia. It's a little bit of pedophilia. It's like pedophilia, but like lesser of pedophilia. It's pedophilia with extra steps. Yes, very nice. No, man. He got your ass with that? No, he didn't. It's just a bit of nonsense. It's like being like, yeah, no, it's pedophile light. Okay, please. The eggplant emoji screenshot gained new circulation in far-right circles in 2022 as Alexander and Fuentes achieved prominence as members of West's entourage. That's when Johnston claims Fuentes asked him to say in a text message to Alexander that the screenshot had been doctored and apologized. Presumably that text message could then itself be screenshotted and used to discredit Johnston. Nick personally asked me to apologize to Ali for supposedly faking the messages, Johnston said. But Johnston insists the eggplant screenshot is legitimate. I think maybe he just asked based on regional law. Some places allow sex over 16, but will be highly contentious until much later with a 35-year-old. Lance literally tweeted a TikTok about Will.
April 14th.
This was a promoted ad on TikTok, literally promoting transgenderism to children.
Wait. Renfield, April 14th, is a dark horror comedy about working for the world's most toxic narcissist boss, Dracula. Nicolas Cage is a must-see performance as the Prince of Darkness. This is true. This is his second vampire performance. I'm a big fan. Nicholas Hoult as Dracula's most loyal and codependent servant, Renfield, who's desperate to break away from his horrible boss. It's a movie for anyone who's ever had a horrible, toxic boss, so...
He thinks this was promoted as an ad on TikTok, literally promoting transgenderism to children, this guy says. That's hilarious. That's awesome.
Everyone. It's scary, funny, action-packed, bloody, and an unexpected story. It's from director Chris McKay, who did the Lego Batman movie that I actually really like. And it's based on an original idea from Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman.
I don't know what to say other than Austin is so bad at doing makeup. Like, it's insane how bad Austin is at doing makeup. I know that's not supposed to be the main takeaway from this, but goddamn, it's hard not to have that be the main takeaway. He is so horrible. This is hilarious. Anyway. Basically, they wanted me to lie, apologize to Ali, and they said they would try to give me a job. Fuentes denied Johnson's claim in an email to the Daily Beast. I never offered Lance Johnson a job, nor did I urge him to disavow that screenshot. No person like Ali should be even near politics, he said. 4 years later. No, that's the funniest takeaway from this is like, this is a ridiculous story with like a lot of criminal components to it. There's like grooming, there's pedophilia, there's solicitation of nude, illicit photos from minors. But having said that, every single person that's been groomed within this movement literally are turning around and saying, no, you don't understand. Like, we love the Nazi stuff. It's just that like we wish this guy wasn't trying to get dick pics out of it. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you want the pedophile Nazi movement to not be harmed by the pedophile side of it? Is that what it is? It's about ethics and neo-Nazism. Yeah. "24-year-old who marched with the white supremacist rally in Charlottesville with a long history of racist, anti-Semitic, and sexist remarks has apparently appeared frequently with Alexander at events like Stop the Steal rally in Georgia in 2020. Wait, hold on. In text message review, Daily Beast, Yiannopoulos warned Fuentes in broad terms about his ally's reputation. God damn it. Okay. Anyway, sounds like everybody got what they wanted, except me, the incel, who is now somehow being blamed for things I had nothing to do with. Fuentes added that the real victim in this entire saga is me. In a self-pitying post, he referred to himself as an incel, internet slang for involuntarily celibate. Wait. He's saying that, like, in a sea of, like a bunch of people got groomed when they were children. And he's more pressed about how, like, what? He's the real victim? Like, what the fuck? Like, sounds like everybody involved got what they wanted. This isn't the first time Fuentes' racist group has been dogged by accusations of inappropriate sexual behavior regarding children. What a statement, by the way. What a line. In August, Fuentes' associate Alejandro Richard Velasquez Gomez was arrested and charged with possessing child pornography. Velasquez, who went by Latino Zoomer online, has been photographed with Fuentes. Also charges over allegedly threatening a conference held by a rival conservative group. The accusations against Alexander, oh my God, they're all, like I said, they are all weird fucking pedophile Nazis. That's it. Asked by someone on the stream whether he wanted to perform karaoke, Alexander demurred. I'm in the middle of a scandal. Alexander said at one point, I can't do karaoke. I'm in the middle of a scandal that I'm going to survive. I mean, real fucking villain energy, real main character energy. I I don't know, man. They're so weird. They're so weird and gross. What the fuck are they doing? Ugh. These are the people who are constantly fucking slinging shit, constantly claiming that the right is actually they're constantly slinging shit and claiming that, like, if you're gay or if you're trans, you're automatically a groomer. Meanwhile, they're doing like actual grooming and it seems like it's not even a fucking big deal for them. What the fuck?